Oscar disappeared, there's no mic. Somebody in the kitchen.
Excuse me?
Oscar disappeared, there's no mic. Or just because I said something about Mridanga, Oscar retreated to the Tulasi room or something like this? Then
I doubt it.
I would oppose that. This doesn't fly here.
No, I don't.
Then you should retreat to Mama, not to the Tulasi room.
It's coming.
Okay. So the mic is missing once again. This is routines. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, chapter 2, text 21. Iti pratyudita yamya duta yatva yamantikam yamaragye yatvam sarvam achachakshura arindamam iti pratyuditayam dutayatvamayantikam yamaragye yata sarvam achachakshura arindamam iti pratyuditayam dutayatvamayantikam yamaragye yata sarvam achachakshur arindamam iti pratyuditayam dutayatvamayantikam yamaragye yata sarvam achachakshurarindama
Iti pratyuditayamya dutayatvamayantikam yamaragye yata sarvam achachakshurarindama
iti
das
pratyudita having been replied to
by the order carriers of Vishnu
Yamya
servants of Yamaraj Duta messengers Yatva going Yamantikam to the abode of Lord Yamaraj Yamaragye unto King Yamaraj Yata duly Sarvam everything Achachakshu informed in full detail Arindama O subduer of enemies Translation. My dear Maharaj Parikshit, or subduer of all enemies. After the servants of Yamaraj had been answered by the order carriers of Lord Vishnu, they went to Yamaraj and explained to him everything that had happened. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this word, the word pratyutitaha is very significant. The servants of Yamaraj are so powerful that they can never be hindered anywhere, but this time they were baffled and disappointed in their attempt to take away a man they considered sinful. Therefore, they immediately returned to Yamaraj and described to him everything that had happened. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Dhanami Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Prachani Nirvishesha Srinivadi Prashkati Dhatata. My dear Maharaj Parikshit, O subduer of all enemies, after the servants of Yamaraj had been answered by the order carriers of Lord Vishnu, they went to Yamaraj and explained to him everything that had happened. So this is here, this short purport, and then this shloka describing the behavior of the Yamatutas. We find the whole essence of transmission of knowledge according to the Vedic system. Because the Yamatutas, being informed about the way they should act, and being explained to by the Vishnatutas, that this Ajamil belongs to us, not to you, because he chanted the holy name. Still, they were not going, that's very interesting. Well, thank you very much. Because they were servants, they immediately went for a confirmation of that information to the superior authority. And this is the system of transmitting and broadcasting Krishna conscious knowledge. One always has a reference, never acts on one's own desire, on one's own idea. The idea might be there, the desire is of course there, but all is confirmed, it's all verified. As one reporter told to Srila Prabhupada, do you have to quote all the time somebody and something? What do you think? If you say something, you think. Prabhupada said, no. I remember once in Germany, once a guest in the Sunday feast, he asked me, that's nice, you are all the time here reading and quoting, but what is you? What do you think? I was quite spontaneously responding to his great shock. I was like, me? Thinking? Never. And he was shocked. That was at the days where there was a big propaganda going on in Germany that we are all brainwashed sect victims. That was exactly the answer you would expect from a brainwashed sect victims. Me? Thinking? Never. Because what he meant by thinking was speculating. There's a big difference between thinking and speculating. Speculating means just imagine something. I think that I saw, that I felt, and I had the desire to describe what I thought when I felt. I felt that I thought. Did I thought that I felt? I don't know, but sounds good. And another one joins in. That's nothing. I thought that I felt, that I read somewhere, but I don't know where. Actually, no, I didn't read this. I dreamt it, it was in my dream. These discussions go on and on. The best place is internet, that's really great. Anybody can go out there and suddenly reach a crowd of 1 million people. This was not possible in the Vedic times, this was forbidden. The only one who could broadcast were the yogis. You had to have some merit of austerity and knowledge to gain the power of broadcasting. They had the internet too. All the information was stored in Akash, in a subtle stratosphere, you could say, and could be accessed and tapped anytime by somebody who was empowered, and those were very few. Yogis, very powerful yogis. Therefore you find in Srimad Bhagavatam that sometimes this Mahamuni is arriving and all the Mahamunis know already. They go, Mahamuni is arriving. How does he know? He didn't arrive yet. But they knew, he's coming. Because they had connection. It was an internet of a real kind. It was based on austerity. Because tapo divyam, first tapa, austerity, then comes wisdom. That's actually in the material world also. If you want to achieve something, you have to study and struggle and really struggle hard to get the idea. And in art, in construction, in everywhere. First comes the austerity, then comes the result, knowledge. However, in the material world and with the help of technology, and that's why the internet is so deceiving, they access so much knowledge with no austerity. You just get yourself the computer, connect on the line, so much data coming in, and you just get puffed up. I have a big computer, I know so much. But your brain is empty. No brain activity. No brain, big computer. And when the computer is switched off, I remember once I was in a German bank, that's many years ago, and the central computer collapsed. In full, in the middle of the day, it was full bank. The people, those who were serving at the desk, they were borrowing to each other calculator, Hey, I have a customer here, can you borrow me your calculator? And they were all, I realized, these people working at bank, they cannot even count. Because without a computer, the whole thing finished. 1 and 1 is 2. Yes. That was the level of the employees in that bank. Because the central computer collapsed. So just imagine how stupid people are today. Everything, just accessing programs, collecting data, information about what? And who said so? Where is the verification? So for Yamatutas, even receiving the information from the Vishnututas, immediately went to the chief, Yamaraj, for a confirmation. Look, that's what we heard. That's what they told us. Can you confirm? What does it mean? You are our guru. You are our instructor. Only then the information was ultimately valid. Even it came from Vishnututas. Still, the Yamatutas were not going, thank you very much, and now we know even more as Yamaraj. Therefore, it's nowadays very difficult to transmit spiritual knowledge, because everybody thinks he knows so much. Yeah, I know already. Well, let's discuss this. This is your opinion. And because of that, the flow of knowledge and enlightenment, very difficult in Kali Yuga, because everybody refused enlightenment. Srila Prabhupada even told us, don't preach to anybody who already thinks he has something. That's so difficult. Why is it difficult to preach in India? Because you say something, they go, well, Krishna, no, Krishna, no, but when you go, who is Krishna? And coward boy, in many girlfriends. I have only 5. He had 108. Big. Krishna is big. But the devotion is actually inherited there, because being born in India is such a special birth. You have to perform some austerities to be born in India. Of course, Prabhupada's in India, they are biggest devotees and biggest demons too. So India is big country with big people, with big demons, big devotees, big cheaters, big wonderful people. Everything is in one place. It's amazing. So in the West it's kind of boring. It's nothing really big. Somebody make a big money. So what? Next week he lost it again. And he has a big knowledge about what? What is the Western culture? What? Knowledge about what? Prabhupada said how to make a machine. That's all. It's all machinery, technological knowledge. The virtues, the knowledge about philosophy. What is philosophy? Philosophy in the West is speculation, that's all. He speculated like this, and you study how he speculated. Mr. Kant was speculating like this. And then Nietzsche said like that. Schopenhauer said like that. You know, even Denmark produced a really nice speculator. Kierkegaard, or what was his name? Mr. Kierkegaard or whatever. He was also speculating. Saying something. Maybe something nice. Maybe something bad. Still a speculation. So this is not the way to perceive Vedic knowledge. So Vedic knowledge is based on tapasya. Tapasya means actually in the original sense, voluntarily, Prabhupada used the word voluntary renunciation of one's own idea. It cannot be enforced. Speculation, that one has to come to the point to understand, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't do me any good. And that requires a certain intelligence. So Prabhupada said this movement is only for intelligent people. And he didn't mean by that people who are just, far out, can do far out gizmos and machines. He meant by this people who understand that they don't understand. That's why it was this Aristoteles, or who was this? Socrates, the only one in the whole Greek gang who said that I know that I don't know. Big revelation. In other words, he said, I came to realize I'm stupid. Well, that's how our Bhakta program starts. That's the first days in Krishna consciousness. I don't know anymore. Help, Krishna. That's the beginning. That's good. And then comes knowledge. How? Transmitted to the parampara in discipline. You don't change anything. You don't add anything. You don't subtract anything. You can only present it according to the time, place and circumstances. That, like example, you don't say everything. Because why? Because people cannot take it. All the prophets were acting like this. Buddha was appearing, teaching ahimsa, non-violence. And when we are non-violent and we peacefully sit under a tree, meditate, where do we go? He said, to nirvana. Oh, that's the ultimate destination. No, it's not. The word nirvana means nir means out and vana means forest. So that means you go out of the forest of material existence. And he didn't tell them what happens next because they were not ready for that. Jesus was confronted with the same question. Should go to heaven to our Father. Who is our Father? How does heaven look like? It's not one description. Nothing. Because you are not qualified. In the Muslims it's even worse. Who is God? Allah Akbar. God is great. Perfect information. It's true. How does he look like? He doesn't look like anything. Don't even dare to imagine form of God. Why? Because with your brain, when you start to concoct in form of God, who knows what comes out of it? Even in India, I saw deities on the altar of such a concocted fashion. I mean, it takes almost comical forms. I saw a deity which was half Varaha, half Durga, half Shiva, it was cut in pieces, even different colors, because the worshipper was not so sure who is the supreme, so maybe one of these. I saw altars where you have a Gandhi, Krishna, Hitler, Stalin, and they worship. Maybe one of them is God, we don't know for sure, but someday our offering will arrive. Perfectly confused. So this is speculation. One can avoid such a state of mind easily by simply listening. Guru, Shastra, Sadhu. These are 3 points. And that's how the devotee speaks, and that is what is reference. Whatever he says, even not maybe directly sound like this, you find always, like Srila Prabhupada, when he visited first time his spiritual master, he was actually not the first time, it was later on, he met him quite relatively on very few occasions. But when he visited him in his headquarters in Chaitanya Saraswati Math, that place still you can see today, it's like a little villa, this size, which got a balcony. And that was like the headquarters of the Gaudiya Math, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj residing there. And he came and there was a big garden outside, a relatively big garden. And then he saw Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj coming out on a balcony, calling for the brahmacharis. You know, hey, there's a snake there in a corner in the garden, kill it. And he was thinking, he was from the Gandhi movement, you know, non-violence, non-violence, and he was thinking, this is a sadhu, this is a, highly elevated personality, and he's ordering to be something killed? That's strange. He had a doubt. What is this? And then Prabhupada describes, then later on at home I was reading Bhagavatam, and I came across the section where Lord Shiva is drinking the poison, the ocean of poison. And by Lord Shiva's drinking the poison, some drops came on the ground and they were taken as Shiva Maha by snakes, scorpions, which were until then not poisonous. Snakes, scorpions, and anything that carries poison was kind of these creatures. They were just taking the Maha from Lord Shiva and became once forever poisonous like this. And in connection, Prabhupada says, yes, a poisonous snakes, there's written there a statement in Bhagavatam that these creatures, this is their karma to be killed because they are poisonous. And then Prabhupada was in ecstasy because he said, of course it's a saintly person because he follows Srimad Bhagavatam to the word. Therefore he said the snake should be killed. Because it's stated in Bhagavatam. Otherwise, if Bhagavatam said we should embrace all the snakes, fine, that's what we are going to do. People ask us sometimes, why are you doing these things? Why? Simple. Krishna said like this. Why do you wear this dress in the middle of the winter in Denmark? Not very practical, really. Dirty, with a constant wind blowing. It means you are constantly walking in a skirt, making sure that you are not naked. The wind is blowing here and there. So, it's not very practical. No, Krishna likes it. That's why we do it. Why do you paint this on the head? Because Krishna likes it. Why do you eat like this? Because Krishna likes it. So we do it all because Krishna said so. And you say, wow, this is really very boring. I mean, where's your idea? I'm not innovative or some far out thing, especially those who are artists, they always come like this. So do something far out. Something you imagined, something you saw, something you felt, express it. You don't do that? What a boring thing. Well. Let's look into the music world. It's like Mr. George Harrison said, there's nothing changing in the music except the beat. All the melodies were already played. It just comes in a very packaged form. Everything is repackaged. Art, you think, this is real revolutionary art. Really. It was all already done, already thought about. Somebody did this before. It just comes in another form. Especially today, in these days, I was growing up in the 60s, there was many revolutionary ideas, including killing politicians and this. There was many revolutionary ideas coming up. Hey, let's make something new, let's kill a few politicians, those terroristic groups coming up and all kinds of things. So, still, this was all done in the past. It's just that Prabhupada called it old wine in new bottles. The content is the same. Terrorism, nothing new. Art, nothing new. Some special, nothing. It's just because previously it was all done with the idea in a service of God. And what's new is in Kali Yuga, which is also not new because Kali Yuga comes over and over again, it's a replay, is that people try to go crazy and do things without God. Otherwise, art was originally meant simply as an illustration to religious scriptures, even in the West, even in that, context. The first paintings in the West, what is this? This is illustrations to the Bible. Everything was just to illustrate. And then it became more and more perfect and more skillful. The artists were more and more skillful until the Renaissance arrived. Oh, then everything broke down, because church couldn't sustain, neither by example or philosophy, the original teaching, which they actually didn't have clear from the beginning. Anyway, it's all story, but Christian religion in itself is so poor of philosophy that they had to copy it from the Greeks. They like in Constantinople, taking from the Greeks idea, because Jesus didn't leave behind any philosophy really. Bible or Old Testament is just a bunch of analogies. From a good tree comes a good fruit. From a bad tree comes a bad fruit. That's good. It's very good. Why? Why it was not philosophy? Because it was not spoken to philosophers. It was spoken to fishermen. And they go, oh, that's a big idea. From a good tree comes a good fruit. Yes, yes, yes. From a bad tree comes a bad fruit. This is very, you don't find such a thing in Bhagavad Gita. There are analogies too, but more like a decorative kind. It's dealing with a serious philosophical concept, where some brain is required to follow. Even to explain people that we are not this body is really difficult. Really difficult. We are not this body. And at the end they go, yes, I understand. I am the mind. No, we are not the mind either. They feel like vanishing, What is me? They always say, I have the soul. First of all, you don't have the soul, you are the soul. And second of all, you don't even know the qualities of the soul. So let's assume that you have the soul. Do you know what the soul is? In the West, you know what they came to understand? That the soul is sex life. In Sweden at least, the priests are becoming as sexual advisors. Because it's all love. Really. It's hilarious. I got married in Sweden in a Swedish church, also for legal reasons. Because those days, the Swedish church was combined with the passport department, with immigration. It was almost like immigration. So I was married in a Swedish church, and it was a pathetic event, but there was 4 devotees present. I had to knee down in front of the priest. I said, I forget it. I will not knee down in front of this guy. So he turned around with the rings. He was expecting that I'm kneeling down, receiving the sanctified rings. Instead of that, he hit me almost in the belly, because I was standing in front of him, looking at him. The man was he was so embarrassed. He was supposed to give some lecture, at the marriage they were supposed to give some lecture, and he skipped that. Because I was there standing there with Dodi and Tilak and demonstratively, and he said, I can see that you are serious seekers of the truth and of God, so then I don't say anything. So it was a very short marriage.